reptilians! You can recognize them by their cold blue eyes. Creatures born centuries ago on the Antarctic ice sheet.
My man Garry is out here spitting absolute facts. And in this video, we're going to uncover a massive secret conspiracy in Cyberpunk 2077. One which ultimately got our friend Garry nabbed by the corpse. This is a mystery involving Morgan Blackhand, secret vampires, Richard Knight, and the mysterious man with blue eyes. So buckle up, grab some iced coffee, and let's go down the rabbit hole of Cyberpunk's darkest conspiracy theory.
Centauri agents kidnapped our Prophet! We demand justice for Prophet Garry!
This wouldn't have happened if Garry had used a VPN like I told him to. Speaking of which, this video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. Now is a great time to cash in on Black Friday savings with Atlas VPN's best deal of the year using my link in the description. Maintaining privacy and security online is a big deal for me, which is why I like Atlas VPN. It encrypts your web traffic, blocks third-party trackers, and shields your IP address from prying eyes. My favorite feature is the Data Breach Monitor, which alerts you if your personal data has been compromised so you can keep your online accounts safe and secure. With just a couple of clicks, you can connect to Atlas VPN on your laptop or mobile devices. Atlas VPN offers the best speeds with over 750 optimized servers to prevent buffering and lag. There are many benefits to gaming with Atlas VPN as well, such as accessing region-locked games and DLC, avoiding bandwidth throttling, and getting early access to new releases. I'm personally looking forward to getting my hands on God of War Ragnarok a few hours early in November. There's never been a better time to get Atlas VPN with their Steel Black Friday deal. Click on my link in the description to get Atlas VPN for $1.70 per month and an extra 6 months free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. You'd have to be a cyber psycho to pass up a deal like this. This is a limited time offer, so take advantage of Atlas VPN's best deal of the year by clicking on the link in the description. Thank you to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. We first encountered Gerald Winkler, aka Garry the Prophet, on our way to get our new Kuroshis from Victor Vector. At first glance, Garry is your garden variety conspiracy theorist, talking about reptilians and aliens, something you might hear from a fan of Alex Jones. But if we pay close attention to what Garry says, we quickly see there are kernels of truth in his diatribes. And if we piece everything together, we can uncover a massive conspiracy that dares to shake the foundation of Night City. So let's start breaking this down. One of his claims that turns out to be totally true, at least in broad strokes, is the immortality of Saburo Arasaka.
I tell you now, Saburo is not gone from our world. He rests undisturbed in the family crypt.
If we go along with Hanako's plan at the end of the game, we learn that Saburo is still alive in the form of an AI construct, much like Johnny Silverhand. And he goes on to install his engram into the body of Yorinobu Arasaka, effectively giving him another chance at life. Of course, Garry fuzzed a few details, but at the end of the day, he was right. Saburo Arasaka is still alive, waiting in the family crypt, i.e. within the walls of Saka Tower. So if Garry was right about that, what else can we learn from this humble prophet? Let's jump ahead a bit to Garry's side quest called The Prophet's Song. After getting attacked by nomads angry at his claims of lycanthropy, Garry reveals a secret meeting is about to take place at a kabuki warehouse. If we observe the meeting and scan the participants, we'll see that Maelstrom is collaborating with an unknown corporate group. Their cryptic conversation provides us with a lot of interesting clues.
What says the Wolf Father to the Moon Mother as she descends to Earth?
I have protected the realm of man and shadow, but today they are protected by our children, whose name is Patricide.
In the age of his failure, he became lost in the forest.
Lilith has concealed the 10th circle from the ancestors' eyes.
Carpe noctem Nalia.
Decet diem execrai.
There are some very interesting things to unpack here. For starters, there is the mention of Lilith, which is a recurring reference in several interconnected quests in the game. Lilith is a prominent figure in Mesopotamian and Hebrew mythology and is also portrayed as Adam's first wife before Eve. Depending on who you ask, Lilith is either a primordial she-demon or a symbol of women's liberation. In modern times, she has become revered in some occult groups. During the side quest, Cyber Psycho Sighting, Bloody Ritual, we discover a brutal maelstrom ritual to try and implant some kind of AI into a living human. One of the Maelstrom gang goons mentions Lilith and the 10th Circle.
You okay?
Lilith has concealed the 10th circle from the ancestors' eyes.
Garry also explicitly mentions Lilith in his second diatribe to V.
Is life without its body? What are the beings of the net if not souls from beyond our plane of existence? I have heard their voices. Let they who yet live never cross that threshold, for their souls will join those ghostly ranks.
You heard their voices? What did they say?
They spoke not in the language of mortals, no. They howled, screaming in agony, forever removed from their earthly form. Among them was a woman, her voice of ice, Queen Lilith. She was calm, but at the cost of her humanity. You ask, who opened these unholy gates of the abyss?
No one's asking.
And I answer you, the techno-necromancers of Alpha Centauri!
The victim of this ritual, a woman named Zaria Hughes, attacks us on sight. Upon defeating her, we can recover a data shard with references describing Maelstrom's attempts to fuse digital with flesh. When you report back to Regina about the Cyber Psycho, V can make a joke about techno-necromancers, which again is a reference to Garry the Prophet's ramblings. Techno-necromancers, or raising the dead via technology, seems a pretty apt description for the Maelstrom ritual. It may also tie into some of the points that Garry makes about vampires. In both the covert meeting and the bloody ritual, we heard the phrase, Lilith concealed the 10th circle from the ancestors' eyes. In the DC Comics universe, the 10th Circle is a secret organization of vampires, which again is something referenced by Garry when talking about Saburo. In the context of Cyberpunk 2077, vampire may also have another meaning besides the traditional immortal blood-sucking beings. After all, vampires are a cosmetic form of cyberware usually installed in the teeth.
Where'd you get your chompers done?
Ah, shit! Forgot you ain't seen these buttes yet. You know the before, now you see the after. What do you think?
The immortal nature of vampires may also be a reference to artificial intelligence. AIs are the closest thing to immortal beings in the Cyberpunk universe. The vampire, Saburo Arasaka, was just a digital construct. Perhaps in this case, Johnny Silverhand and Alt Cunningham are also vampires. Which brings me to Mr. Blue Eyes and Morgan Blackhand. Mr. Blue Eyes is a mysterious figure we can spot during Dream On, just before our meeting with Jefferson Peralez. He's also present during the ending where V is contracted to infiltrate the Crystal Palace orbital station. Morgan Blackhand was a major character in the tabletop source material for Cyberpunk. In fact, the famous Solo was the one who led the assault on Arasaka Tower, along with Rogue, Spider Murphy, Johnny Silverhand, and others. So his omission from Cyberpunk 2077's plot was strange to many who knew the tabletop lore. Just before the heist, Jackie and Claire discuss the fact that Morgan Blackhand has gone off the grid. No one knows whether he's alive or dead.
All on the menu.
Except there's a spot missing. Morgan Blackhand, right?
It's true. Morgan's yet to make up his mind if he's dead or still kicking.
Nobody knows what happened to him. Think he's still alive? It's been years.
Why not? Look at Rogue. Peeps from that era, a species unto themselves.
One interesting detail that players uncovered was that there were a couple of unused character models for Morgan Blackhand in the game files for Cyberpunk 2077, one model for 2023 and one for the present day, which suggests that Blackhand is still alive somewhere. And this is where things get really interesting. A user named LurkOasis managed to load these character models inside the game. Here's the 2023 version of him, and here is the 2077 version. But wait a second, doesn't he look familiar? Yes, it appears that Morgan Blackhand and Mr. Blue Eyes are the same person. Which begs the question, is Morgan Blackhand being controlled by an AI? Many theorists in the Cyberpunk community believe that Mr. Blue Eyes is an AI-controlled husk, responsible for mind-controlling Jefferson Peralez and trying to gain power and influence in Night City. And if that's the case, then who is the AI behind the curtains, so to speak? Reddit user InkDagger shared a theory that perhaps Richard Knight, founder of Night City, is the AI behind Mr. Blue Eyes. While the theory can't be conclusively proved with 100% certainty at this point, there are some interesting details in the game that support this. For starters, let's talk about Knight Corp, the company Richard Knight founded before his death. We know from Sandra Dorsett's quest that they were involved in AI-driven mind control research. We also know from in-game lore that Jefferson Peralez's education was funded by Knight Corp. We may also infer that Knight Corp was the company that contracted Maelstrom and SSI to spy on and mind control the Peralez family during Dream On. I don't think it's a coincidence that Maelstrom also appears during the secret meeting that Garry pointed us to. The Maelstrom gang member also said during the code exchange with Jane Doe, "I have protected the realm of man and shadow, but today they are protected by our children, whose name is patricide." Richard Knight was murdered by powerful gangs in the late 90s, while his company built up Night City. Those same gangs, i.e. the children whose name is patricide, control large swaths of the city today, while corporations control the rest. Is it possible that Richard Knight was converted into an AI by Knight Corp in a similar fashion to Saburo Arasaka? One other quote from Garry the Prophet has stuck in my mind ever since I heard this theory.
And lo, they shall descend upon the earth unseen, the sky shrouded in darkness. That's what he said. Night's coming, the eternal night.
Could he literally be speaking about the return of Richard Knight, coming back to realize his dream of a utopian corporate city? It would certainly make for a fascinating story in the upcoming Phantom Liberty DLC. If we disrupt the Corpo Maelstrom secret meeting, we can recover a data shard, which when decrypted, leaves us with a cryptic message. If you take the first letter of each word, it spells out a code. Project Oracle Command Execute Plans. I wonder if these conspirators were working on behalf of Mr. Blue Eyes to usher in the return of Richard Knight. In any case, Garry was out here spitting too many facts that powerful people had to silence him. When we returned to his humble street corner, we learned that he was nabbed by corpos, never to be seen again. Wherever he is today, I hope Garry's still fighting the good fight. We can't let those reptilian techno-necromancers rule this city. That would be a travesty. So there you have it. Exploring one of the wildest and darkest conspiracy theories of Cyberpunk 2077. It seems like Garry the Prophet may have been right after all. I'd love to hear what you think of this theory in the comments section below. I look forward to seeing if the upcoming expansion explores this plotline further. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Cyberpunk and RPG videos. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.